We are thrift store shopping for things to sell on eBay, and that can be quite overwhelming. And if you watched the last episode, I discussed all of the aisles that you should definitely hit when you are looking for things to sell on eBay. Okay, so now let's talk about the aisles that I don't always shop in and that I usually will skip over. Jewelry. Because I don't know what I'm looking for or what's fake or what's real. So I tend to steer away from that, but I'm not saying that you should. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you know what you're looking for, go for it. Because I definitely think there's a little bit of potential there. Like I said, especially if you know what you're doing. But here's the problem. It is a really big competition market. So you're going to have a lot of people who've been doing it for a long time, selling for a long time. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, because there's always room for newbies like yourself, but it is a higher risk and just a higher competition. So your sell-through rate might be a little slower, might not be as good. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could end up with tons of returns. So just a little bit of a warning when it comes to selling jewelry. Just like with the jewelry, women are the pickiest customers you're going to have, and especially when it comes to clothing. And let's be real, us ladies are really hard on ourselves on the way we look in clothes, so you run a pretty high risk of having that item returned. If, however, you do want to sell clothes, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Just know that you are probably going to have to deal with returns eventually, and probably sooner rather than later, unless you're selling men's clothing, because men are easier to please than women. I mean, it's just true. It's just, well, in the case of clothing. I mean, let's be clear. Men in general are easier to please when it comes to clothes. They're not quite as picky as women, so you will have a way less return rate. Look for things like brand new shirts, brand new pants with the tags on them, and they don't have to be brand new, but also, just good condition. But also look for things like hats, like baseball caps, specifically trucker hats if you find them, and rock concert t-shirts. Golden. Oh, and sports gear. One time I took my husband thrift storing with me, and I don't know a lot about men's clothing, but I made him go look at the men's clothes, and he found a pair of game shorts from the Sonic something. I don't know, from Seattle, I think. Seattle Sonics or something, some kind of basketball shorts. I don't know, but we paid $1 for it, and we sold it for $114 within the same day. That's one time I was glad I took my hubby. You can also sell kids' clothing and shoes and stuff too, but remember, you're more than likely dealing with the mama here, and so the same rule kind of applies with the return rate. A lot of the things that people deem collectible aren't always collectible. And I have found this when I sell on eBay, that I can skip over the Barbies, which, by the way, these thrift stores sometimes will charge you an arm and a leg for, because suddenly they are in the know and think that these Barbies are worth a bunch of money. So they'll put, $16 on or $25 on a Barbie or whatever, and it doesn't even sell on eBay for that much. The same is true, though, for things like Coca-Cola, NASCAR, Avon, Carnival Glass, all of the things that people generally think about when they think of collectibles, all their go-to brands and things that they think about. Those are all going to be things that typically will have high prices on it. They'll put it behind their counter. They'll put it in their little glass cases, and they'll have ridiculous prices on it. And you can't make money on it. You just can't. Okay, take this for example. I found this Connects Big Ball Factory at the thrift store. They have $75 on it. $75 at a thrift store. That's crazy to me. Okay, you look it up on eBay, you see that it's worth quite a bit of money actually, right? But there's no way to know if it has the instructions, if all the pieces are there, and I highly doubt that the employees are going to let you pull that box up on that counter and just start counting out all of the pieces, so you don't even know if it's complete. And yes, you could sell it for parts and stuff, but just also think this is a big box. So it's going to take a lot to ship. It's going to be kind of a pain. I just think that you would better spend your time and money and resources on smaller, easier to sell items than something like this. Hey, I'm not saying to not look through the collectibles. I'm just saying don't get lost and spend tons of time in those collectible aisles, because you are going to waste precious time where you could be finding more valuable collectibles, say like over in the bedding section. Furniture just does not sell that well on eBay, and I think it has a lot to do with the high shipping cost. Plus, even if someone is willing to spend the money on shipping, getting it to them undamaged, damage-free, whatever, however you want to say it, is hard to do. And if you don't believe me, just ask my bestie who really had a hard time with that this year. I felt so bad for her. She sold a bunch of desks and almost every single one of them arrived damaged. Oh, what a nightmare. Bigger, bulkier items are harder to handle, and they are more apt to receiving damage and therefore making a customer service nightmare for you. That's not including the pain it is to package these items to ship in the first place. So if I were you, I would just skip on the furniture, unless you're gonna do something like Facebook Marketplace, which that is always an option. Know this, there is always the exception to every rule. So you can find valuable treasures in every single aisle. I'm just giving you this list so that you don't get bogged down and hit those aisles all the time. So you just kind of know where to prioritize your time. Okay, you guys know me. I can't just leave it at all negatives in this video. So there is a benefit to shopping all the time at thrift stores and these awesome places. You find such bargains. And speaking of my bestie, while I was taping for this episode, I happened to run into this amazing scarf. I really think she's gonna like it, and I think it's gonna cheer her up, especially with, well, hello, the Chiefs who are playing the Super Bowl. Yeah, go Chiefs. Anyway, I really think she's gonna like it, don't you? I don't know if I'm doing it right. Oh, go Mahomes. That's for you, Sarah.